I'll just give you a quick background on myself. I was born and raised in Lafayette, and I went to Lafayette High, then I went to Tulane University in New Orleans. And then after that, I'd done some traveling in between, a few mission trips actually, and after that I went to Africa for the summer, and then after the summer, after the summer in Africa, I started working at Our Lady of the Lake Foundation in Baton Rouge and had my dream job. Loved it. Did marketing and public relations, did special events, was, having events with Lionel Richie and all sorts of things, and it was perfect. It was amazing. And then someone asked me if I would lead a medical mission trip to Haiti. And I said, no, no way, I don't want to go to Haiti. And so then they tried to ask a few more people, and then they asked me again. And I said, I really don't want to, but if you want me to, I'll try and go. So in April of 2010, I led a medical mission trip with some doctors and went to Haiti, about 70 miles away from Port-au-Prince, and hated it. Got back and said, I'm never going again. This country is so messed up, I don't want to be there. So I went home, and then suddenly in August, I got the chance to go again. And someone asked me, and I said, well, I kind of forgot about how bad it was, and I decided to go again. So I went to 70 miles away from Port-au-Prince again, but then on the way back, I stopped very briefly at this one place, Respire Haiti. Only for about 45 minutes, stood right by that tree right there and looked around and went, wow, this place is bad. Somebody needs to come here. I don't know who it is, but it's not me. So I went home, continued in my perfect job, loved it, didn't think about it, but then God started probing at my heart, and I was like, oh no, something's going on. So I pushed it away for months and months, and finally in October, I kind of realized, oh wait, you can't really stop God from doing what He wants you to do. So November of 2010, I started figuring, wait, I've got to do something with this. So I started a nonprofit, figuring, hey, I'll start a nonprofit, I'll send some money down there, I'll support some kids, and then that's what I'll do, right? And suddenly I found myself in January of 2011 moving to Haiti. I quit my job, I'd sold everything. Half of my family thought I was crazy, the other half thought I'd be back in a week, and I was just going, all right, Lord, what do you want me to do? So, when I talk to certain groups, they're like, well, how did you hear God so clearly? Like, you just must have known everything that was going on, and you must have just known what you wanted to do. And I have to say, no, I stayed in my room for 3 days in Respire Haiti and ate Cliff Bars and wondered if everyone was right, because I had no idea what I was going to do. And so after I got up enough courage to actually figure out what to do, I said, hey, maybe I should pray. And so I did. And God said, go to the mountain where you first saw Respire. So I went to the mountain, and this is what I saw, this little girl. This is 6-year-old Michaela Dimanche, and I saw her on this mountain, and she had a bunch of rocks in her hands, and she was throwing the rocks at something, and I walked up, and she speaks Haitian Creole, I speak English, so this was a very difficult conversation. And I finally realized that she was throwing the rocks at these birds because she was hungry and she was going to eat them. So I went home going, oh my goodness, okay, she's throwing rocks at a bird. She doesn't have any clothes on. She was very, very rough looking. And so I went home and started researching what was going on in my home in Respire. And so I found out that she was what's called a rest avec. It's a French word. Rester means to stay, avec means with. And really what it is it's child slaves or domestic servants. And there's about 500,000 child slaves in Haiti. And when we think about this, we know there's slavery all over the world. We know there's sex trafficking and child trafficking. And the thing that really got me is that Haiti is only 3 hours from where we are right now. It's an hour-and-a-half flight from Miami. It is very close to us. And so whenever I realized that all this was happening and no one knew about it, God just started going at my heart. And immediately we said, okay, we need to figure out what's next. What's going to be the next step for this? And so I started a feeding program. And this feeding program was on Bellevue Mountain. There was about 97 kids when we first started. Now we have about 700. And we feed 700 kids every Saturday. And this is what we used to figure out how many kids were not in school, how many kids were rest-a-vecs, how many kids were orphans. And so I started a school right after that. And this school took place in a one-classroom building with 97 kids. And so the longer I started with this school, we started it last January, and here we are in April. I started realizing along the way that, education is important, but what these kids really needed was to know their identity, because they've been told for so long as being restoracs. They do all of the chores. They do all of the laundry, all of the cooking, all of the cleaning, getting the water, and they don't go to school. And so their worth was in what they were doing, in their work. And so we had to start chiseling away at these hardened 4-year-olds, 6-year-olds, 8-year-olds to tell them that this is not their identity. And so what our school started to be about was, yeah, we taught math and yeah, we taught English, but we also taught them how to love each other and not hit. I've been bitten by more kids than I ever want to tell you, but they don't know how to treat each other kindly or gently. And so we had to start from the very bottom of how to teach these kids how to love. And the only way we can do that is not from ourselves, but through Christ. And so as we started pointing them towards Christ, we started seeing that their mentality was changing. And so we went from 97 kids in January, and then this October when we started school, we had 356 kids.